Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. But if you could please like, share, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla, and as you can see, Tesla does what Tesla does. I say that so often, right? We closed at 315.35. Looks like we've had a pre-market low of 290. Well, we came back up and found support around the 291.83 area, bounced from there, and it looks as if we're trading sideways. Support is around this level of 294.95 as of now. Resistance, we could possibly say 295.58. Now, I always say where the trouble place is. Breaking this 295.58, we could possibly have trouble 296.03. Should we break that level 296.74, and breaking that brings us back to around where the 200 or the 50. Let me rephrase that, where the 20 EMA is at the 297.31. If we should break that, not far away is the 297.59. So that brings us back to this zone here. Now, breaking that level, we could possibly have trouble again, 298.50, breaking that level for Tesla back to the upside, 299.75. And again here around the $300.22. What's interesting, if we break that, it brings us back to the ATR trail and stop in a level that we have marked here around the $300.98, and I have the 301.12. So somewhere in this area here, we could possibly get rejected or have a little trouble. Now, should we break that, we could very well come back to the 302.30 and 302.79. Breaking that brings us to the 50 EMA. That is correct, 303.16. So if you're trading Tesla to the upside today, those are possible areas of rejection. Now back to the downside, trouble places under, let's say 294.43. We could very well come back to 293.50. This is our area here that's been holding us up. Breaking this level brings us back to around the 292.72, and breaking that 291.83, which is around here. Breaking that, we have 291.39, 291.11, not very far away. However, should we break that, we could very well come back to the low of this candle here at the 290 area. Now, breaking that 290, we could very well come back to, let's say, around 288.81, and breaking that 287.35. Should we break that level, 286.50, and again here at 284.99, breaking that 284.35, 283.69, and 283.11. So those are possible areas of support and resistance for Tesla. Again, I said often, not financial advice, y'all. So in this market, anything is possible. So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 625.34, and what's interesting is we made a high of 626.38. We came down off of that. Looks as if we found support at this level here around 622.45. Went back, tried to make its way back to the upside. We're having trouble around this 624.19 area, and I have the ATR trailing stop as of now 624.47. So that could be a rejection area for us. Should we break that level, we can come back to this 624.90, and breaking that, we could possibly come back to around 625.42, and breaking that back to the 626.28 area. Those are rejection areas or resistance areas for the SPY as of now. Now back to the downside. Let's say we come under the 5 EMA, the 20 EMA. There's a level here of 623.25. Breaking that brings us back to around 622.85. And if we should break that, something held us up here, I would say around the 622.39, and breaking that level, we could very well come back to around 621.68, breaking that back down to 620.66. There's a few layers of support here. So breaking the 620.66 area, we could very well come back to 620.29. Now, if we break that 620.29 or the 620 area, we can come back to 619.75. And as you can see, the 200 EMA as of now is at that 619. 619.34 area, which is a few layers of support here for the SPY. So if the SPY is something that you trade today, those are possible areas of support and resistance. Now, what would be interesting is if we break that 619.34, we can come back down to the 618.86 and breaking that level, 618.25, and again 617.91. Those are possible support areas for the SPY as of right now. And y'all know I say it, anything is possible. Mark your levels, and once it goes against your Y, get out. So we are now looking at Meta, and Meta closed at 719.01, and it too has been just trading in this little gathering spot. So is the market setting us up for something? So where the trouble places as of now, we could say that this level here of 715.58 is a support area. Resistance around the 717.04. Breaking that level, we could very well come back to around the 718.10, and if we should break that, 718.63. Now breaking that 718.63, 719.63, which is our ATR trailing stop here. Now we have a few layers of resistance here. So breaking that 719.63, I have the 720, and then the 200 EMA is around the 720.18, not very far away. So this could be a very strong resistance area for Meta as of now. However, breaking that, we could possibly, come back to around the 721.77 or the 722 area for resistance, and breaking that, we could very well come back to 723.81, and again here at 725.46. Breaking that level brings us back to 726.60. Now let's look to the downside. So if by chance we break under 715.58, we could very well come back to this line here, which is around 714.62. Breaking that, we could possibly come back, find support again around the 713.95. And if we break that, 712.86. Breaking the 712.86, 711.27. Breaking that 711.27 for Meta today, we could very well come back to 708.27. And keep in mind, anything we could very well get stopped out anywhere between the 711 and the 708. So if that is something that you trade carefully. Under the 708.27 for Meta, 706.48, 705.50 could be support areas. So if Meta is something that you trade, I say trade carefully, y'all. Let's look at AMD today just to see where we are. We closed at 137.91. It seems like we bounced off an area of support around the 135.85, only to come back up, get rejected at this ATR trail and stop around the 138 area. So where the trouble places as of right now, support is around this 137.70, and we can say the resistance around the 137.90. So that is a very small zone that it's trading in now, and we're continuing to the upside above the 137.90 area. We could very well have trouble again, 138.14. Should we break that level, we could very well have trouble again around the 138.60. And as you can see, it too has a few layers of resistance right here. The 200 EMA 138.67, and a level that I have marked here, 138.73. Though 138.78, those are possible rejection areas. So this could be a strong resistance area for AMD around the 138.67 area. Now breaking that, we could very well come back to 139.11, and again here around the 139.31, breaking that 139.54. Now breaking the 139.54, we could come back to around 139.97 and possibly have some trouble there. Now back to the downside, let's say we break under, the 5 and 50 here. Looks like it's trying to cross, right? But we have to definitely wait and make sure we have confirmation, right? So let's say under the 137.60 for AMD, we could very well come back to this level, 137.23. Breaking that brings us back to around 136.81, breaking the 136.81. And I want to mark that because I want to show that this is where price here, we've been here, something stopped us before, and it's just not this candle here, it's some candles over here also. So I need to remember that 136.83 for AMD. Breaking that level brings us back to around the 136.58, and should we break that, 136.17 is an area here that I would like to mark also, because something stopped us here. Price gathered there. So breaking this 136.13, we could very well come back to the 135.85, and as you can see, that is where our ATR trailing stop is as of now. Breaking this level brings us back to 135.54, and again here at the 135.15. Now breaking that 135.15, the next level that I have marked is 134.15. However, y'all know we could very well get stopped out anywhere in this area here. So if AMD is something that you trade, I say trade carefully. Let's look at NVIDIA today just to see where we are. We closed at 159.34, and it too, it looks like we came down to this level of 157.66, bounced from there. However, that 20 EMA 158.36 is a rejection area for us, and wow, it seems like that 5 EMA is what's kind of like holding us up as of now. So that 158.26 area could be our support area. Resistance is the 220 EMA 158.36. That is where we are as of now. So where are the trouble places for NVIDIA? Back to the upside, we need to get back above the 158.67. Breaking that, we could possibly have trouble again, 159.08, and the ATR trailing stop is at the 159.25. Breaking that level, 159.48. Should we break that, we could very well have trouble, 159.81. Breaking the 159.81 for NVIDIA, we could possibly have trouble again at this 160 area, 160.64. Price was here. So breaking that, we could very well have trouble again right here at the 160.98. Now back to the downside for NVIDIA, we could possibly breaking under, let's say we got under the 50 EMA here at the 158.22. Breaking that level, we could very well come back to around the 157.91 and possibly have support. Breaking that level, then the 157.66, and breaking the 157.66, I have 157.02. Breaking that, we can use the 200 EMA at around the 156.61, and breaking that level, 156.26 could be a support area. Now should we break that, 155.95, and again 155.59. So if NVIDIA is something that you trade today, these are possible areas of support and resistance. Again, not financial advice. Today should be an interesting day in the market. Y'all know I say anything is possible, right? So we did have a few inside day candles, Marvell, MRVL being one of those, meaning if by chance we break above this level, this is the possible target. So the trigger for Marvell or MRVL, if by chance we break above 75.41, the upside target today is 79.16. Now to the downside, under 74.12, downside target today is 73.81. And as you can see, it is trading sideways, so it could go in either direction. There is a few, a layer of resistance here and here. So if Marvell or MRVL is something that you trade, I say trade carefully. Let's say Intel or INTC is also an inside day candle for today. If by chance we break above 22.63, 22.77 is the target. Under the $22 here, let's see what that downside target is, $21.49, and it too is trading sideways. It could go in either direction. I say that right. So if Intel is something that you trade, it is an inside day candle. MDLZ is also an inside day candle for today, above 69.54. Upside target is 69.83. Now to the downside, under 68.78, we have a downside target of 68.57. And as you can see, we are almost at that place pre-market. So if MDLZ is something that you trade, again, it is an inside day candle. And y'all know I say so often in this market, anything is possible. Let's go back to Tesla just to see where we are. It seems as if, it's trading in this kind of like in this gathering spot still here. Yes. So we could very well get rejected at that 20, I got it right, the 20 EMA, which is here. So we could very well open and come back to the 20 EMA around the 297.43 and get rejected again. Anything is possible with Tesla, y'all. I say it so often. So I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very productive day. This is what I see when I look at the market. There's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging at times is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you and having the discipline to execute your plan. again. So if you could please, again, y'all, like, share, comment, subscribe. We learn and we grow together. With that being said, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.